Whitney Banks, and she's part of the adoption portion of the Catholic Charities. Whitney, first of all, welcome.
Thank you, Jack, for having me.
Kind of a nice winter day to have you on today.
Yes, it is. It was a lovely surprise this morning for me.
Just like taxes, you know.
Right.
Tax day.
Yes.
Last
day.
You look startled. Are you okay now?
Oh no, I'm good.
Are you good? All right.
Oh, I'm good with mine. I did mine first when I got my W-2s. I
Good
said
for
yes.
you. Good for you.
Get it out the way.
You don't want to be sending in that 1240 tonight, right? Well, let's talk a little bit about, we're going to talk about the adoption art exhibit. But first of all, tell me what you do at St. Vincent Catholic Charities.
At St. Vincent Catholic Charities, I run our Wendy's Wonderful Kids program. It is a program that is designed for teens that are getting ready to age out of foster care that need a permanent home. So we travel the state of Michigan and we find homes for these children. And also, I just don't work for St. Vincent, but I also work for all of mid-Michigan as well. So any agency that's in my area, I service them too.
How many children are you talking about?
I service about 14 right now. I have more that I have to add later on, but we have a solid 14.
So is it difficult in today's world to place 14 children? And how old are these kids?
These kids range from 13 to 18 years old. Okay. And it's very difficult to place them into adoptive home because most people that are interested in adoption are only interested in children that are babies or somewhat around 7 to 12 years old, in that age range.
Now, these particular kids, where do they come from? Are they from broken homes? Or they go through the courts, or how does it work?
These children, they come in through our foster care system for abuse and neglect. Okay. If the state feels as if that their parents are not taking care of them the way that they need to, then the state will go and terminate their parents' rights, and they'll be legally available for adoption.
So now, are they in a foster home at Catholic Charities, or are they spread out throughout the state?
My kids are spread throughout the state. Even the children that I do not service, they're either in foster homes or they're living in residential placements. But most of my kids, all of them are living in residential placements.
Typically, how long have these kids been waiting for a foster home?
It can average between 3 to about 12 years.
It takes that long, does it? Wow.
It depends on how long they came into care, and if they were ever placed into a foster home, or if they went right into a residential facility. The biggest problem is that we just don't have enough foster homes for teenagers. That's why our children basically become stuck in residential placement, because we have nowhere for them to go.
So in a foster home, is this a permanent situation? If they go into a family, takes one of the children, they become foster parents, and is this a lifelong relationship with the child, or how does that work?
I'm glad you asked me that question, because sometimes people tend to mix foster care and adoption together. Right. Foster care its main purpose is to reunite that child back with their birth family. So you're just there to help aid that child and help aid the family as well, so you can make that connection. As far as for adoption, once that child is placed into your home, that is your birth child. That's how the state will look at it. This is your birth baby. But we do have foster parents that have adopted children that were in their home. If the state feels as if, like, okay, yes, we're going to just, make this child available for adoption, their foster parents can say, yes, I want to adopt this child, or they can say no. Typically, the state will like to find relatives first before they allow the foster parents to adopt them. But if no one is not saying, yes, we want to adopt this child, then the foster parents typically would just adopt them, because they've probably been in the house for more than 2 years.
That was going to be my next question. Typically, do the foster parents do they eventually adopt the children? Is that usually the way it works?
Yeah, typically that's how the way it goes, because if they're in the home for 2 to 3 years and the state just ends up terminating their parents' rights, they're kind of like, there's no point, of trying to have this kid go somewhere else. This is their home. Sure. So they'll just do the process that way.
Well, there's always going to be kids that need to be adopted. Foster parents, probably difficult to find them. How do you find these people?
Typically, where we go to, our recruitment area is generally churches. We have families that majority of our families come from people that go to church, and just mostly out in the community where you find family-based events, or just community in general. One of the biggest things trying to find a foster family is that there are positive things and there are negative things that are out in the community. Mm-hmm. And we know that we tend to listen more of the negative than we do the positive. So anytime when I'm out in the community, I'm recruiting, I ask certain people, I'm like, well, have you ever thought about foster care or adoption? And they'll say, yeah, I've heard about it. I thought about it, but I'm not so sure because I heard X, Y, and Z. Mm. So what I do is I ask them, well, why don't you do your own research? Here's some material. If you have questions, you can ask me, or you can call any agency and ask your questions. And most of the time, too, some people don't want to become foster parents because of that attachment. If I have this child for so long, then this child has to leave me, and they spend so many years with this kid. That's a hard detachment, because once a kid becomes a part of a family, that's their family.
That would be very difficult. Mm-hmm. Well, what about the support of the agencies? I mean, once you become a foster parent, the kids are dropped off one day. Is there any follow-up? I mean, is there any support after that from St. Vincent Catholic Charities and other agencies?
If you're doing foster care, you will always have support. Always. If you do adoption, after your adoption is finalized, we will still help you find services for your family, and they have this agency that's called Post-Adoption Resource Centers, and they're all around the state of Michigan. I believe we're region number 4. Please don't quote me on that. But anytime if you need help, we can refer you to one of the park agencies, and they will put you in their short-term program where they will go in and help give you assistance. If you need help finding a therapist for your child, they can help you with that. And they also have a 24-hour crisis hotline, too, where parents can call and get services. And if they just need a place where they have to vent, they can call that place, too.
Must be a great experience for these kids to finally get foster parents after waiting for many years. And to finally think to themselves, maybe I'm going to be located, maybe I'll have a family, I'll have a life. Because being in a foster home is going to be difficult for them.
Yeah, being the biggest thing is them being in a residential placement is because I have one young girl. She has been in a residential placement going on 3 years now, and she completed her program 3 years ago. And the problem was that we just couldn't find her a home because of her age. And you can slowly see she's slowly losing hope. Because she's like, well, what if this just doesn't happen? And that's my job, to kind of keep that hope alive for her. I said, you know what, you always have to keep fighting, because even in that moment, I try to tell our kids, well, when you get an adult, when you become an adult, this is going to happen. Certain things happen. You're just learning a little bit earlier. And she's like, oh. But I just want to leave. I just don't want to be here anymore. So she's yearning for that very much.
It's got to be a challenge for you.
It is.
It's kind of heartbreaking in a way.
It is. Because she's like, get me out of here. I said, what you want me to do, break you out? I said, I can't do that. I said, or I'll go to jail and I can't help any of you guys.
Right.
And they're like, it doesn't matter. She's like, we'll find a way. Just get me out. I was like, oh, it tears me.
That's
it
too bad.
really does.
Now, do they age out at a certain age? I mean, is there a certain age limit that they can be in the residential environment? Do they get to 18 years old and then it's over, they go out on their own? How does that work?
Well, if they're in residential placement, you will have, it depends on that actual placement itself. They may allow the child to stay until they're 18, but there are residential placements that cater to 18 and up. Okay. That's more focused on your independent living programs. And what they do is, well, for the state of Michigan, a child can stay in foster care until they turn the age of 21.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yes. So, which is a great thing, because our kids get to go to college for free. But most of our kids, they don't think that far ahead because they're thinking in that exact moment. But typically, they can keep an 18-year-old there if that's what their program is designed for. But if not, then their caseworkers are trying to find them different placements to go to when they're getting ready to age out. But typically, they want to have a plan. If their goal is no longer adoption, they go right into independent living, where they're trying to make out a plan for that child and find a support person that can kind of keep track of them.
Mm-hmm. So if there is someone who wants to be a foster parent, somebody wants to contact you to find out more information about the program, what would they do?
You can just go to St. Vincent Catholic Charities. You can go to our website, which is www.stvcc.org, or you can just look us up online and give us a call and ask for foster care and adoption. We can give you further information that way.
Talking to Whitney Banks, we're going to talk about Adoption Art Exhibit coming up May 4th. Let's talk about this event. What's this all about?
This is our wonderful, 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 extremely wonderful.
That wonderful. Huh?
Yes, it's very wonderful. Adoption Art Exhibit. I've held this. This is probably our 6th exhibit that we have going on. But this year we're doing a little bit different. Every year we always talk about what type of family we want, and this is what I want to see in my family. I kind of veered away from that for this year, and I just wanted to focus on them. So we're going to have vision boards. One of the artists, her name is Barb, she came in and did a workshop with us this past weekend and just had us focus on ourselves. So there was nothing but magazines and stickers and ribbons laid out everywhere. And she just told the kids, she's like, whatever you feel that what do you want people to, if you have one thing, what do you want them to understand that's just dealing with you? Mm-hmm. What is that? And so first they were rambunctious because I had all boys that day. But after a while, the whole room became quiet because they were really focused. And everyone, we were just watching that, and it was amazing, everything, the pieces that they've chosen, certain words, and how they connected that together. They really put some thought into that. And so that's what we're going to be presenting on May 4th, and just having the kids explain, this is me. And if you want to adopt me, you have to accept all of me.
That's pretty thoughtful. These kids got to be pretty thoughtful to come up with these ideas about themselves. A little introspective, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So now where is this going to be taking place, and what are the times?
This is going to be at Absolute Art Gallery from 2 to 4. Our program is going to start at 2 o'clock, and that's where our kids are going to do their presentations of their vision boards, and you're going to get a little bit of information about just Michigan adoption in general and about St. Vincent's.
So it's Adoption Art Exhibit in Our Voices, it's called.
Yes,
sounds like a
Our
great
Voices.
idea. Well, thanks a lot, Whitney. It's always a pleasure having you on, and good
Thank
luck.
you
have
so
a challenging
much.
job, but it's such worthwhile and has to be very great satisfaction when you finally have one of these kids adopted.
It is.
Thank you, Whitney.
Thank you, Jack.
Whitney Banks from the St. Vincent Catholic Charities. We'll be right back. This is LCC Radio and TV.